David here from Unqualified Critics. What would you do differently if you ran the show at Arcade1up? In this video, I'll be sharing my take, but I want to hear from you in the comments what you think of Arcade1up. They're the company that pioneered the home arcade category, but it's very much a community-involved category. You can browse YouTube, you can browse Facebook, there are tons of people giving their opinions, and that's what's so exciting about these products. We all have views on them, and that's the important part, that we're passionate about this stuff. It makes covering the topic fun. Talking about these cabinets is almost as much fun as playing them. And it's been slow news on this lately, with the shutdown obviously being part of it, but these are also holiday driven products, and we're kind of in the off season right now. So it just got me thinking, what would I change if I ran Arcade1up? And of course, all credit to the actual teams that run these companies. Numbskull, that I'm going to mention later, Replicate, At Games, II Arcade with their new product, and Arcade1up, even the accessory guys, the small mom and pop shop. None of this is meant to knock anybody. They're the ones actually getting up and doing it. I'm an entrepreneur myself for my day job, and I know how much harder stuff can be to actually execute on than it might look from the outside. With all that said, let's run through what I would do differently. The two main things I would change, I'll make it really simple. 3 highly differentiated product versions, both cheaper on the low end than what we're getting right now, but also more expensive on the high end than what is currently being offered. And they would have equivalent levels of quality. I'm going to cover all of that. But I'd also do a much better job mining the community for product insights than is currently being done. That way I know I'm planning the best game combinations for cabinets and make much better choices on the details of the cabinets. Those are the things that are holding Arcade1up back right now. That's what's driving a lot of the community complaints, and I think it could be fixed pretty easily with a community advisory board. Now, let's talk first about the 3 levels of cabinet. First, I would do a super premium level. Now, Arcade1up is apparently planning a Ferrari level cabinet, as they call it, but it's not yet confirmed for release, so we don't know if it'll see the light of day. And David from Arcade1up has said before on the Retro Buzz, this won't be a proper arcade replica. It's just going to be another step higher than what we're currently getting.
So we want to have a tiered price point system in a perfect world where the entry-level consumer could try one of these out for $299. Somebody who's more into these can get like an average version with the riser, and somebody who's really into like the modding side of things or having like that really polished looking unit can get the bells and whistles included, whether it's light up marquee, the Sanwa buttons and joysticks, and now we're rolling out the light up deck protector, stuff like that. So
I don't think that goes far enough. Next will be a mid-tier cabinet. This would be distributed through stores like Best Buy and GameStop. They're higher quality though than what we're getting today for the mid-tier. And finally, the low-cost edition. These are for people who like the arcade cabinets, but cost is the primary issue. A lot of these folks are going to be buying these cabinets at Walmart, and right now I think they're waiting on clearance. So I think we need to address that with a lower price product than the $299. And I'm not talking a lower price product that's going to sit on your counter. I'm talking about the full 3/4 scale arcade at a $199 price point. Let's break these down. First, the premium model. This cabinet honestly needs to be of similar quality to the Numbskulls and the Replicate mini arcade products. If you're not familiar with those brands, they offer small arcades that would sit on a shelf that mirror the original release as closely as possible. I'm talking about when they look at the light up marquee, they want the lighting to be the proper color temperature that you got on the original arcade. I mean, that's an incredible level of detail. So why should that high-end cabinet exist? Because currently it doesn't, but I actually think it could be one of the most important things Arcade1up would do. Well, there are only 3 reasons you would get an Arcade1up instead of a multicade like a Legends Ultimate. So we need to keep these 3 reasons in mind every time we do a product and make sure we're satisfying 1, 2, or all 3 of them. For the high-end cabinet, we should be checking all 3 boxes. Number 1, you want a replica of an actual arcade machine, artwork and all. You cannot get that with a multicade. Number 2, you want a perfect control setup that warrants having a dedicated cabinet for just a couple of games. Those controls need to work perfectly. Number 3, you want lots of different arcade machines to create a true home arcade. Now I'm saying it's one of those 3 reasons is why you'd buy an Arcade1up. It doesn't have to be all of them, but for some people, they want to check all those boxes, and we need to deliver that.
ready to form Voltron.
With a really high-end product. So this Ultra machine would be completely arcade authentic. The number one piece of the puzzle here is nailing as close to as possible the real machine in look and feel. I'm talking about a fully designed kick plate, not the junk we're getting right now that feels like it's cardboard and just has logos on it. Again, you might not care about all this stuff, but I'm talking about for the Rolls-Royce offering, somebody who might have otherwise bought a truly full-size arcade machine for their house. We need to offer an integrated riser design, not something that just looks like a box that the cabinet is sitting on. We need a faux coin door that lights up and has the plus 25 cent button on it, and you hit that button to start a game. That's worked for Replicade and Numbskull, and I think it is even more warranted here on a closer to full-size cabinet. Now, it's not full-size, and that's fine. When this question was brought up to David McIntosh, it was, well, we can't build a full-size cabinet. Nobody's talking about that. This should still be a 3/4 scale cab. That's the whole point of Arcade1up. These are light enough to move around your house. They don't take up a ton of space, but it needs to look and feel just like the real thing. It also needs to be modular. Currently, most of the cabinets I own have joystick mounting plates that are glued in place. So if I want to swap the joystick, I have to melt that glue down and peel it off. That's a problem for a high-end cabinet because even though this needs to come with very high-end parts out of the box, those parts break down over time. Joysticks need cleaned. Sometimes buttons or joysticks need replaced. It should be very easy to service this cabinet because if we're going to pay this amount of money, we ought to know we can have it for a lifetime, and it's not about one piece breaking and I have to throw the whole thing out. That ain't going to cut it here. For pricing, we're talking $600 to $800 per cabinet. Now, all that cost means this is going to sell in limited quantities, and that's okay. This doesn't need to sell in high volume. They're not going to be produced at a huge volume. They're not going to bring in the level of revenue that cabinets you sell at Walmart will. But that's okay. What's the point? Well, it's a Halo product. This gets the community of collectors and enthusiasts excited. They might not buy this level of cabinet for every single cabinet they buy, but all of us have one or two cabs that are our favorite. For some people it's Burger Time, for other people it's Pac-Man, on and on. You know what it is for you. Let folks buy this Rolls-Royce version of the cabinet for their favorite model. It's also a design exercise. I think you'll learn things in designing this level of cabinet that can trickle down to the lower level cabinets. Car manufacturers do this stuff all the time with Halo cars for this reason, along with the added brand value. And I know Arcade1up's not building this directly. They're having outsourced manufacturing, but you can learn lessons in managing that manufacturing and in design plans, and I think that's true here. Speaking of the design, the controls, the joysticks, the buttons, they need to be the same brand or the same, very close to and clone as perfect as possible that the original arcade machines have. If the original version of that game came with HAP joysticks, then the Arcade1up Rolls-Royce version should have HAP joysticks, or Sanwa, or whatever it might be. If they're clones, I guess that's okay, but it has to be such a high-level clone that you cannot tell the difference unless you take the thing apart. This needs to feel exactly true to the original design. Now, these will be sold through Arcade1up.com only. Target and Walmart wouldn't be interested. It'd be too niche. It'd be too expensive. And even if they were interested, I don't want to sell through them because they're going to force compromises on this product through pricing negotiations. Maybe Best Buy's Magnolia stores, the high-end AV section, maybe they could buy some of these. That's the only big retailer I could think of who would want to push this product. This is basically just going through Arcade1up.com, selling directly to the consumer. That way I can afford to put in as much quality as possible by cutting out the retailer markup. Alright, now that's not where the money's going to be made. That's to drive community hype and excitement and to give you a gold standard that you can reach for. If it's a particular cabinet that you're so excited about, then let's let you pay $600 to $800 for that, but know that you're getting an awesome cab. For the mid-level cabinet, this is where I think a lot of us are. You probably want multiple arcade cabs in your house and you want really good arcade controls, but you may not care as much about perfectly replicating the original designs, which will help keep the price reasonable here. Speaking of pricing, this is going to be $300 to $400 per cabinet. I think the offering Arcade1up currently has planned for summer 2020, $400 NBA Jam with light up marquee. That's a good place to start, but Frogger for $400 with games that don't match the controls, that's not a good place to start. I would throw that one out, or seriously rework that Frogger cabinet. But there are two issues with those cabinets that I would change. I believe NBA Jam is going to come with cheap controls. We know they're not coming with name brand controls. I would fix that for this price point. I would also fix the games list, like I said, for games like Frogger. Now, it gets back to that community or expert advisory board. These people are going to provide insights on the games list for each cabinet, as well as all the little design decisions. It's not that they're going to call all the shots, but they're going to be a sounding board. So when I mention I want to do Frogger and Time Pilot on the same cabinet, someone's going to raise their hand and say I'm a moron, because Frogger's a 4-way game and Time Pilot's an 8-way game, and that's a bad idea. Why should I have people spend $400 on a cabinet with only a couple games if they don't all play properly? That's a bad choice, and that advisory board's going to help. Now, along with a better game choice and along with better control quality, I want to make sure again that the risers properly match the cabinet design, just like with the Rolls-Royce cabinet. That riser is designed because I do think these cabinets should come with a riser, and they often do. It will this summer. It shouldn't look like a box the cabinet's sitting on. It should look like an extension of the cabinet's design. Now, if you look at the Marvel Limited Edition, I think that's one of the most perfect cabinets Arcade1up has released. That's exactly the kind of quality I'm talking about here. The buttons and joysticks were all sandwall. They feel great. And the riser design looks great. It looks like part of the cabinet. So I think they already hit gold there, but then they start to stray where they do NBA Jam at that price, but lower quality controls, badly designed riser. Get all that out of here. And the advisory board is going to help me do it. Now for distribution, I'd like to say, well, we can sell these through Walmart. We just won't sell as many to them. We don't have to worry about getting clearance. No, I think with a cabinet this high quality, you don't want to risk brand devaluation by having someone like Walmart come in and sell the Marvel Limited Edition for $50. I know all of us would love that, and I would love that too, but we're running Arcade1up here. We've got to sell a product to the community that can retain some value. And at this price point, we know they won't move as fast as it needs to at Walmart, and it will ultimately get discounted. So again, this is more for GameStop. This is more for Best Buy. It's still a mass market product, but it's a premium product at this level. Now let's talk about a much lower price point that's perfect for Walmart, and it's perfect for people who want to jump into these arcades, but they don't want to spend a ton of money on it. $199 bargain bin price for the Arcade1up 3/4 scale cabinet. Same cabinets from the mid-tier, but much lower quality controls, no riser, no light-up marquee. And now that Arcade1up sells accessories on their website, and by the way, one of the things I would be adding, selling those higher quality controls that I have on the higher level cabinets, they're going to be available a la carte on Arcade1up.com. So you would be able to go in and buy those upgrades, make the choices you want. Maybe you don't care about light-up marquee, but you want perfect controls, or vice versa. This lets you pick and choose while giving buyers that $199 price point, where I think these would move quickly enough from Walmart shelves that they're not as likely to get clearanced out eventually. By the way, I talk a lot about wanting high quality products here. Honestly, I'm a little bit of a hypocrite because my Gen 1 Galaga cabinet is one of my most played cabs. I play it way more than Marvel. I love that cabinet. The controls are junk. There's no light up marquee. It's just got a basic black riser. But it's awesome. It's still a lot of fun, and I'm glad I have that product. I think $199 for that is perfect. You might have to cut some corners on quality. You might have to use a little cheaper quality wood. Maybe even not use the new BOE monitors. So again, I'm not saying that this is going to be the end-all be-all product, but I think you could do a few things to cut $20-30 out of the price and keep it moving at $200. And also then I get to monetize you a week later when you get it home and you decide, you know what, I do want that light up marquee, or I do want to invest in other things. I would do a much better job than they're doing currently with selling product upgrades at Arcade1up.com. The final thing I would change, game expansions. These are not multicades, and I don't believe they should be multicades. But if you buy the Street Fighter 2 cabinet and you want to buy another version of Street Fighter 2 that I didn't include in that cabinet out of the box, I want to let you log into a web store and download that game directly onto your cabinet. Now that means adding a Wi-Fi radio, I know, but I think I'm going to make that money back, because I think of all the people that buy these Arcade1ups and they're They're honing in on 1 million cabinets sold. I think it's a huge missed opportunity that army of 1 million cabinets don't represent further purchasing opportunities. Take the Burger Time cabinet, for example. Who among us wouldn't pay extra money to download the Ice Cream Factory game on it? Now, I'm not saying I would want to hold back games just to sell later. We could still stick with the 4 games at a time, but there are always a few other games from that publisher that should be made available that you can then pay for and download. And that's how I would monetize, along with better accessories and better upgrades, the million strong cabinets that are out there, while also providing something to the top level enthusiast with a Rolls-Royce level cabinet, better than anything they've ever done, while still capturing that bargain buyer who maybe they're not going to get the $50 clearances anymore, but give them a $200 cabinet so they have a place to start that's reasonable. So I want to know what you guys think. I'm sure there are people out there that want to see these cabinets at a $100 price point, but listen, that's not realistic. Maybe the occasional clearance, but for proper pricing strategy, that ain't going to make any sense. These cabinets are just too big and heavy to move around for that to even begin to work. But for everything else, what do you guys think? Do you think this is the right strategy? Are there other things you would do differently if you ran Arcade1up? Let me know in the comments. I really want to hear from you. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, and if you really enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe so that you know when we're uploading new videos, new content, and keep you posted on news on home arcade products. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Dripping lights paint the skies.